And we're back here on Liquid Lunch. It's me, Hugh. We're hitting the home stretch. Sandra's here. And now we're joined by Boris Giller, who is one of the co-founders of 180 Smoke. And you did that with Dr. Gopal Bhatnagar in 2012. Right. And we're hearing so much about this whole vape thing, Boris.
Yeah,
it's
really
it's
caught
a
on.
real phenomenon. So welcome, first of all. And
thank you.
Now let's get into this. We have some vape fans here on staff at that channel.
So if you can just explain to an absolute novice like myself who knows nothing about this, what is this?
So it's essentially an alternative to tobacco. It's a harm reduction tool. In regular smoking, you would use combustion to get your nicotine. Mm-hmm. It would be the same as if we would burn tea leaves to get our caffeine. And so this is kind of like brewing the tea. Essentially, it vaporizes a liquid solution that simulates the look of smoking, but doesn't carry the 4,000 chemicals associated with regular tobacco.
Yeah. Now, Sandra, I can't believe you don't know about this.
I know nothing about this.
You've never seen anybody vape?
Well, except here.
No.
No, I guess I lead a very sheltered life, but this is why this is so cool for me, because it's really an education for me. This is fascinating. So when somebody does this, do they actually still get the taste of smoke? Like, this is for someone who wants to quit smoking.
Yeah, well, the first step, most people, when they initially switch to vaping, they go for tobacco flavors that even simulates the taste of cigarettes, and then eventually they all move on to flavors, custardy flavors, fruity flavors, to really disassociate themselves from the nicotine, from the taste of tobacco. They still get their nicotine, but without the taste of tobacco.
So when you're doing the fruity flavors, is it nicotine with the fruity flavors?
Well, the nicotine is optional.
Oh,
so
I see.
So
Okay.
there's a whole variety of flavors. There's hundreds of flavors. And some people choose to switch to vaping without nicotine. So it's just...
That sounds weird to me. It's
well,
like drinking coffee without caffeine.
I do that. Yeah. So, for a lot of people, they claim they're not addicted to the nicotine. They just have the hand-to-mouth fixation. Yeah. They need to chew on something. When they have a drink, they need to just puff on something.
No, it's true. I have a friend got off smoking that way. He just held a fake cigarette for a while.
Pen, carrots.
Yeah. So
carrots.
This is like an electronic cigarette? Is that what
right.
this is?
Yeah.
Okay, so does it look like a cigarette?
They used to. About 5 years ago, the most popular format of this used to be cigalikes. So they would look like a little cigarette, but they wouldn't be able to produce the amount of vapor that a heavy smoker really needs to be satisfied.
Okay.
Nowadays, they look like this.
Yeah.
Okay, now how do you use that? What do you do with it?
So this part is the battery.
Okay.
This part is the atomizer.
Okay.
You regularly change the atomizer, and then you put liquid in the tank. You put the e-juice in the tank, the refills.
Okay.
And when you press this button, it inhales. Can I vape in this?
Sure.
Room?
Whoa.
So to a bystander, if
that doesn't smell like smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that smells really nice.
It's macaroon. It's a cookie.
I love.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So to a bystander, it's not as disturbing to bystanders. If somebody lights up a cigarette at the other edge of the room,
I love that smell.
I would, me too.
You know what's funny, Boris?
That's better than a pipe.
I was actually on a plane a couple years ago, and my brother-in-law was behind me on the plane, and we're like 30,000 feet or whatever. And I look behind, and he's blowing out a huge cloud of vape.
Yeah,
right. And I just thought it's so weird to see that on a plane.
Yeah, the visual still throws people off who don't know the science behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this is not harmful, like smoking like to secondhand smoke. That whole
the secondhand, there's no evidence currently to support it as any secondhand vape harm.
Okay.
Obviously, as a user yourself, the first-hand use, it's always better to breathe air than anything. But it's a recent British study just got released that concluded that it's about 95% safer than regular cigarettes. And that is due to the fact that it doesn't rely on combustion. When you combust tobacco, you get carbon monoxide, you get tar, you get 400 carcinogen, you get about 4,000 different chemicals that get released. and you deprive your body of oxygens. Here, there's only 4 ingredients that are individually FDA approved. FDA doesn't want to approve vaping, but they individually approve the 4 ingredients. It's vegetable glycerin, which is in all of our foods, propylene glycol, which is an asthma inhaler, and it's all of our medicine, distilled water, and food flavors. And then the optional nicotine, and it is actually the same pharmaceutical nicotine that goes into patches, gums, asthma, those nicotine inhalers.
Absolutely.
So this is not considered a chemical or any sort of. This is as safe as eating the processed foods we eat.
It depends, yeah, basically.
Probably safer than a lot of processed foods.
It's maybe safer than sugar, but that's just my opinion. Yeah.
So now, is this legal?
It is legal, yes. Recent regulation, they're trying to propose regulations to restrict the use in certain places, banning anybody under the age of 19 from using vapes.
Now,
that'll probably work as well as banning kids younger than 19 from smoking or drinking or anything
but
is there?
Tell them not to do it; they want to do it more.
Exactly.
Of course. But is there science behind that? Is there a reason for that, or is it just because the government's just saying we don't want kids to do this? Like, is it unhealthy for younger kids to do this?
There's no evidence to support that. It's the same as adults. There's science to support that it's bad for pregnant women.
Okay.
Because it's still nicotine, right?
Well, not if you don't have the nicotine version, though, right?
Yeah.
But that's not common? Is that like 10% of...
It's equally common. It's about 50-50 spread between nicotine users, non-nicotine users. It's just that, to a scared mother, it appears like smoke.
For sure.
A lot of the talking points coming out from anti-vaping organizations is, we don't want to renormalize smoking. We don't want it to be a gateway back into smoking, which is total nonsense because there's no evidence to support that. Actual large statistical studies show the opposite. The non-smoker rate, the people who are non-smokers before and who use vapes, it is the same percentage as non-smokers using patches and gums. Similar abuse rate. But the same talking points of what about the children?
Yeah,
we must protect the children.
Sounds like.
But this is something we support. The 19 plus. It is a very reasonable regulation to be proposed.
Well, I know a lot of people have quit smoking as a result of this this new technology, this new phenomenon. Boris, I want to ask you, how did you get into this business?
Well, I'm an ex-smoker myself, and both my parents were smokers. I was fighting with them heavily every day to try to get them off smoking. I tried negotiation, I tried threatening, I tried terrorism. Nothing worked. And I realized that carrot is better than stick.
Yeah.
Because if scare tactics, if scaring people about smoking would work, nobody would be smoking. Every smoker knows how bad smoking is for you.
Good point.
And so my dad passed away from smoking, from a heart attack, and he was a very heavy smoker. And so I got into this much heavier, into promoting an alternative. I realized you have to give people an alternative, something to go to.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why people smoke, right?
Yeah.
They have the stress, they have the habit, or they have. So you have to give them something more comfortable, more pleasant, that is easier to transition to. So I teamed up with a friend of mine, Ashutosh, who's a social entrepreneur who lost his cousin to smoking. And then we got together and we met Dr. Gopal Bhatnagar, who's a leading cardiac surgeon, a leading Canadian cardiac surgeon. And when we initially pitched it to him, he was a little hesitant. But
why?
Well, because the word cigarette initially, as that throws somebody off.
Even electronic cigarette, right?
Yes, but he promised to look at the science. He promised to take some time to look at it. For over a few months, he kept sending us new research that he found out, and after a few months, he was fully on board. Because he said he was very frustrated at trying to save people one at a time. Yeah, it's not scalable. It's so many hours in a day, and he saw this as one of the biggest impacts to the smoking rates since like the 50s.
So as a heart surgeon concerned with people's health, he decided that this business was something that he could actually have a big impact and help the health of a lot more people than one at a time.
Yeah, I mean, plus the industry right now is kind of rag and tag, a bunch of little mom and pop shops, and we really wanted to change the way the industry approaches. We want to convert smokers by the masses.
Right. So kind of professionalize the whole industry in a sense, right?
Standardize the manufacturing, have ethical advertising standards as opposed to lifestyle. Mm-hmm. We want to really avoid the making it look cool as opposed to a harm reduction tool.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think we've touched on this a little bit, but there still seems to be some controversy about it. And you've already mentioned, lawmakers, policymakers are looking at this as something that needs to be regulated. Why do you think that is? Part
of it is misconception and just the fact that by design it looks like a cigarette, it feels like a cigarette. So to a bystander, uneducated bystander, it throws them off because we've been exposed to a lot of anti-smoking campaigns, very successful ones. Mm-hmm. They've been demonizing smoking for the right reasons, but it kind of overlapped. And on the other hand, there's a large misinformation campaign, a very well coordinated misinformation campaign against vaping, and a very intense lobbying effort.
Who's doing that, and why would somebody actually want to do that?
So, funny enough, when we got into the business, we thought big tobacco was going to come after us because we're stepping on their toes. What we were surprised to find out is that big pharma's behind this effort. In essence, what happens, there's been a few articles about it, but in essence what happens is they use media proxies. Mm-hmm. They stand to lose more than tobacco companies because the sales of nicotine replacement, like patches, gums, and inhalers, became obsolete. Right. With e-cigarettes, because they don't provide the sensation of smoking, which is what a smoker likes. Yeah. It's not, they don't smoke only for the nicotine, they smoke for the ritual and all kinds of other things. They essentially fund. I was surprised to learn that organizations like Heart and Stroke, Canadian Cancer Society, and the Lung Association are largely funded by pharma.
Of course.
And they show up at every committee. And every time there's a new press release, it's very well coordinated. Gets released from all three one by one, slightly rewarded, same talking points, and they just keep repeating the same points. Well, we simply don't know. What about the children? There's not enough research, and no matter how much research comes out, like a huge British study came out. That concluded it's 95% safer. And most people are another scary stat from this study is that most people are unaware that e-cigarettes aren't safer.
Are that much safer?
Yeah.
So what do you think the biggest challenge is that you're facing? Because they're talking about, I mean, I don't know if it is now, but banning it inside. I don't even smoke, but I think it's a shame that you can't smoke.
I think
even on a patio or in a bar, people like to smoke when they're drinking.
Yeah. See, I think it's irresponsible. Some of the regulations that are proposed are good. Labeling standards, child-proof caps, 19 plus. Those are all welcome regulation. But some of them, like indoor vaping ban, it's very harmful. It's dangerous actually. If somebody's quitting, first of all, they need an excuse. My mom, when she didn't want to quit, I tricked her into quitting by giving her one of these and say, well, you don't have to quit. Just use it indoors when you can't smoke. And 2 weeks into it, she can't. She threw away her cigarette.
Wow, great.
So sending out ex-smokers out into the cold with the smokers to breathe in secondhand smoke, where they each offer each other cigarettes, I think it's very dangerous. You got to give people as much incentive to quit.
The fact that you actually have your partner is an actual doctor, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
That's got to help your cause, though.
It does help. Like most of our, when we first started, we faced so much opposition from banks, insurance companies. Every institution that we would deal with would treat us with suspicion because they would simply, don't know. And
you mean like the bank you were going to have your bank account at?
Yeah,
or like just your
anything, any institutional interaction, we would face some kind of opposition and uphill battle.
Yeah. And
in contrast, as an entrepreneur, you feel more like an activist on a daily basis as opposed to an entrepreneur, because we have to, permanently educate and show the data and get the doctor.
So, but is he getting a lot of flack from this because he's a doctor? Is he still practicing as a doctor?
Yeah.
So does he get a lot of flack for this?
Actually, no, because he says he'd be very happy to debate anybody on the science of it.
Let's have a debate. Let's actually get a debate.
A doctor for and a doctor against?
He actually would love to have one of the pundits from Heart and Stroke.
Yeah.
Because he's more versed on the science than I am.
I just want, there are actual benefits to nicotine.
Funny enough, yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to articulate what some of those are?
They're actually for Alzheimer's disease. There's some benefits to that. There's some concentration for ADD.
Yeah.
There's certain benefits. Again, it's not a good thing.
I even heard that it helped counteract the negative effects of fluoride in the water.
That's one.
And which I think there's studies out there that show that. So it's interesting.
Well,
right?
I think we got to bring the doctor.
What's that?
I think we got to bring the doctor for the science.
Well, I think it would be great to have a debate and really let people have a chance, not just to put forward talking points or push propaganda from certain entrenched interests, but to have an actual rational debate on the veracity of the claims that either side is making.
Yeah.
Now, with Justin Trudeau being in office now, he's more progressive. He's younger. He's more open-minded. Do you have, do you see this as a positive thing?
We personally do. I think it's a step in the right direction, like his proposed, policies. Funny enough, on the provincial level, it's the Liberal government that are pushing the hardest to ban these.
Oh, so they're not even in sync with each other on a federal versus provincial level.
No, and it's a very partisan issue. When we went to the committee discussing e-cigarettes on the provincial level, it was a very partisan. The room was divided, and the Conservatives were defending e-cigarettes, while the Liberals were not even willing to hear any doctors. 3 separate doctors went on and presented evidence and reference studies. They didn't budge on any amendments. They didn't budge on anything. Whereas when Mark Holland from Heart and Stroke came on, gave his little spiel about what about the children. They're like, yeah, the children. So it's a funny. I hope Trudeau influences the provincial government.
So with all this controversy about it, right, and with with these committees and people deciding if there should be new laws and that sort of thing, I mean, how concerned are you about that? Because some people are saying maybe it could even threaten the whole industry. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
See, the thing is, if they're restricted to vaping's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Too many people quit, and too many people are talking obnoxiously. If I like a lot of our customers, after you quit, you just preach nonstop. So it's the genie's out of the bottle. They can't put it back. So they're only attempting to slow down the growth.
Well, I think they want to find a way to make money from it.
In addition, yeah. So that's another funny thing. Actually, they're losing a lot of the tax revenue on tobacco sales. A lot of the budgets were set expecting a certain revenue from tobacco, and with the smoking rates dropping, that creates a bit of a problem.
See, they're schizophrenic. On the one hand, they want to ban it. On the other hand, they're benefiting from the tax revenue from it. It's like...
Yeah, well, they're not. If they wanted to ban cigarettes, they would just ban it. Why are cigarettes legal?
That's right.
They're partly complicit
right.
with why people are addicted to cigarettes.
But I think they want to, I don't know. To me, it's the whole thing. I think there's more important things for politicians to do than to worry about this issue, right? Which is, I think, up to individuals to choose how they want to live their lives and what they want to take into their bodies, right?
Yeah.
You know, we got other serious problems like transportation and the economy and homelessness and education and health care. That's what I think politicians should be concerned about.
Like
policing
people's behavior, you know. Sometimes they rile up political support with
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Boris, have you checked into other provinces? Are other provinces across the country doing any of this? And, you know, are provincial governments more supportive? Like, I'm thinking BC might be.
BC has some legislations. It's a similar proposals. Quebec is the harshest because Big Tobacco has their head office right there.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
But various provinces have different laws. Most of them are similar, and we're hoping that the federal regulations that's going to come out of the HESA committee will override these. This is the only committee that actually is taking the time to study the science and talk to experts and medical experts and stakeholders, whereas the provincial regulation just came out of pressure. They just needed to put something in place, and I think more responsible regulation is required. It's not that they shouldn't regulate it. You should definitely regulate. It has standards for manufacturing. Actually make it safe. People are putting this in their mouth. You need to ensure that what's on the label, it's in the liquid.
Well, you guys are obviously on a mission to kind of professionalize the whole thing, so it's good that you guys are there to weigh in on that side of the story. And 180 Smoke, I guess you mentioned, has seven retail locations? 7
in Toronto, and a few partner stores in Quebec, and a couple of resellers here and there.
No, are you looking for if somebody's interested in franchise opportunities?
Yeah, actually 2 of the 7s are franchise stores, and we were expanding the program actually beginning February.
So people out there that are interested in setting up a successful business can get in touch with you?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think we put your email address up there at
boris@180smoke.com.
So they can get in touch with you there. And I know you got a store on Yonge Street. Like, where are some of the other locations?
We have one at Yonge Street, one at Yonge and Steeles at Centrepoint Mall, one at Bloor in Islington, one at Danforth and Pape, one at Warden Avenue, and another one at Bramley City Centre in
Sounds like you almost have the whole GTA covered.
That was the plan.
That's pretty great.
Because you see, thing is with a cigarette pack, you run out of cigarettes, you just got to go downstairs.
Yeah, you got to go somewhere.
But if you run out of this, it has to be accessible.
Speaking of, when you put the oil...
Liquid, it's not oil.
Okay, the liquid.
Bad idea to vape oil.
Okay. This is how educated I am on this topic. Okay, so when you put that liquid in there, how long does that last?
Each fill is about a day. Depends. There's tanks of various sizes of tanks.
Okay.
There's large tanks, small tanks. But it's about... Each bottle is equal to about 7 packs of cigarettes. Little bottle.
And it's
that goes in there?
That goes in there. Like, you keep refilling it from the little bottle.
Okay, I see. So if I had this, and if I took this in my purse, I'd have to take the bottle with me along with that.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. And in terms of cost, is it similar to cigarette smoking?
No, it's about 5 to 10 times cheaper. That's a big reason why people switch.
Wow.
Because they need as much incentive as possible. There's additional benefits to it. There's the saving impact on the environment. We're saving trees, paper, the litter. The cigarette butts end up in fish's guts, and they pollute the environment crazy. There's cleaning costs. There's large implications to this.
So this has got benefits all the way around.
Yeah. We actually, in the past year, we helped Canadians not smoke 230 million cigarettes. See, that to me is a great slogan. Yeah. We help Canadians to not smoke. That's. I mean, you could just enemy tobacco, and I'm actually. I'm not surprised that Big Pharma is a big enemy here, but I am surprised that tobacco is not as aggressive. Yeah, they have a small role to play, but what they're doing is they're hedging their bets. They're actually buying out some e-cigarette companies in the U.S.
Okay. So you can't beat them, join them kind of thing? Is that what they're doing? Because in the end of the day, there is some tobacco in there, right? Not tobacco, nicotine. It's a pharmaceutical-grade nicotine, so it's not tobacco. There's no tobacco. Okay. So and even the tobacco flavors are just food flavors meant to simulate the taste of tobacco, but there's no actual tobacco. Wow. Okay. But they know that that's the future of nicotine consumption, and they're getting into it. You know what's funny? It just one thing I have to say. When I was a kid, right, reading Mad Magazine, like in the early 70s, they had a thing where it was a joke at the time, but where they came up with an electronic cigarette, right? This was in Mad Magazine, like in the early 70s. That'd be interesting to find. I wish I still had it now, but it's so amazing that here we are, Back to the 30, future. 40 years later, and it's actually become a reality.
and it's no joke. It's actually
Simpsons
saving lives,
predicted,
right?
yeah, and Simpsons predicted a whole bunch of things as well, like Trump running for president
and 9/11.
9/11.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
So that's great, Boris. It's been great to meet you,
thank you for that education.
And I wish you all the best with this. And
pleasure,
Sandra. We're going to have to go up and visit the shop
do
on
some
Yonge
vaping.
Street. It's just up the street. Okay, yeah, we'll bring a camera for that. Okay, 180smoke.ca is the website. So
Just have fun with the smoke. That's so much fun. It's always fun to try and do things with the smoke.
Well, if you're a non-smoker, it's meant for smokers. Otherwise, what's the point?
Well, it is cool to see those rings, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to discourage the whole lifestyle. And just
Okay, bad.
Yeah. Okay, Boris, thanks for doing this today.
No problem.
And hope to see you again sometime soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we'll hear some progress next time, or maybe the debate.
The debate, absolutely.
The debate.
Okay, Sandra, thanks. Thanks, everybody. It's been a first Liquid Lunch of 2016. We'll see you all next time right here on thatchannel.com.